How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Elvis Junction Reviews. Today we're looking at another product from Athearn. We're looking at an Athearn Genesis 2.0 Burlington Northern Santa Fe -944CW. This is number 788, and as you can see, it has Tsunami 2 LED lighting, and it's also in the fake bonnet scheme. So we're not going to waste any time. Here is its nice Athearn Genesis box. As you can see, it's from the 75th anniversary line when they were doing that special thing for their boxes. Box comes off just like that. Inside we have a warranty sheet. This basically explains, the warranty. We have a exploded diagram of the locomotive right here, as you can see. Whoops, and one just fell. And there's multiple diagrams here because they made multiple different variants of the -9. They made CNs, teardrop ones, as well as slightly older versions and slightly newer versions. And here we have our locomotive manual. This basically explains us lubrication as well as sound and such. We have a foam piece protecting the locomotive. And there it is inside its protective plastic shell. So let's go ahead and slide that out of there. And you guys requested I bring back unboxing, so we're doing it. Now let's push it out like that. Two pieces of foam, which is kind of funky, but oh well. Open up the clamshell. We have this nice sheet of plastic covering the locomotive from being damaged from the actual shell. There we go. Let's pull it up. There are truck stabilizers on the bottom of the clamshell to keep the locomotive from moving around when in, motion, when the box is being moved around. And then, as you can see, we have foam pieces protecting the handrails from keeping them from going bent out of shape. And let's try to get those out here. And we have one more on the other side. All right. So now that we have the locomotive out of the box, let's go ahead and get into some history. And now onto some history. Now I've already talked about the history of the -9 twice. One in a scale trains video and one in also an Athearn video. But essentially the -9 was built to replace the -840 CWs, and they had higher horsepower, better electronics, and better pulling power than the -8s. And they are still serving on North American rails in both Class 1 railroads and Class 2 railroads. And our locomotive here, BNSF 788, was built in September of 1997 in what is known as the fake bonnet scheme. And she's still in active service as of today. So what does it mean by fake bonnet? Well, when the BNSF was created in 1995, they didn't immediately have a paint scheme. They didn't have one already thought up of, whereas like the SP-SF merger, they already had a scheme ready. So BNSF said, all right, well, we have more -9s that the Santa Fe had ordered before the merger, so we'll just leave them in the war bonnet scheme that the ATSF -9s were painted in. However, we'll put our logo on it, as well as instead of ATSF on the front, it says BNSF on the front of the cigar band. And many of these fake bonnets are running around the system in these colors, all being with orange PTC on the roof of the cab. All right, so now let's get into some details, starting with the front. And now onto some front detail. Starting at the top here, you can see we have a grab iron right here, right above the number boards that say 788. I believe they light up. We are going to find out when we do our sound demo. You can see the strange wedges that the Santa Fe ordered with their -8s and their -9s, which was only unique to them. And I'm not exactly sure what the reasoning is for on this. If anybody does know in the comments, please let me know. You can see the sunshades on either side of the cab right there. We have two grab irons, one right here and one right here, and they hold the windshield wipers down. Speaking of windshield wipers, you can see them right here, two on either windshield. Moving on to the nose here, as we focus on the nose, you can see the grab irons on the top of the nose here, as well as right here and right here. We have our sand filler hatches, one right there and another right there. Here is our forward-mounted headlight, which operates when the locomotive is in motion. We have our grab irons that lead from the top of the nose down to the walkway here. We have here's the door to lead into the cab with a window on that cab door. We have the lovely BNSF ATSF cigar band right here, and as you can see, it says BNSF on the nose. A little hard to see because of how distinguishedly yellow the handrails and they are, because, well, the silver, yellow, and red was the staple of the war bonnets of the Santa Fe. We have our little walkway light right here. Here are our ditch lights right here and right here. They operate when the locomotive is in motion. We have our very red walkway right here. Focusing on to the pilot area here, we have our coupler cup bar with its red handles. As you can see, runs the width of the locomotive. We have an MU cable right here, an MU hose, and there's an MU socket right there. We have 3 MU cables on either side of the plow, and they go through the plow through these little holes on the top of the plow, 3 here and 3 here. 2 yellow grab irons on the top of the plow, one right there, one right there. Oop, and the lighting just went a little focusy there. We have an air hose right here, and here is our coupler, and it looks very nice. And you can see some illegible stickers right behind the coupler cup bars. All right, so now let's get into some rear detail. Looking at the rear of the locomotive, you can see a grab iron right here, a little yellow grab iron right here on the top. Here's our sand filler hatch, and here's our rear headlight that does operate when the locomotive is in motion. Yellow grab irons from the top, from at least the headlight to the walkway again. Here's the numbers, 788 on either side. We have a vertical grab iron that runs vertically right there. Here are our yellow handrails, and you can see the walkway around the locomotive is red as well, which is very cool. Down here on the pilot, we have our MU sockets right here, as well as our coupler cup bar. Once again, red handrails going vertically with a silver horizontal. We have a yellow grab iron right here, as well as right here. We have 3 MU hoses, 3 here and 3 here, the air brake hose, and our coupler. And as you can see, we also have our spare knuckles, this one E for end and F for front, and you can see the steps, the walkway steps right here as well. All right, so now let's look at some side detail. Looking at the side of the locomotive, you can see immediately a big 788 right below the windows of the cab. You can see right here an F to indicate this is the front of the locomotive, and it says -944CW. We have some red sill stripes that work their way the length of the locomotive, and you can see the beautiful war bonnet scheme right here. And here is our AC unit, which is very nice. 4 windows as opposed to the SP cab. When we looked at our SP locomotive, there were 3, one right here, and then just 2 long windows right here. And you can actually see that distinct little wedge that the Santa Fe had, as well as BNSF's -9s as well. Here is a red jack pad, so when you need to service the locomotive, you can jack it up. And here is our phenomenal truck detail, and the nice thing is that these end caps, they do roll when the locomotive is moving. And here is our steel bell right there. And as you can see, actually on top of the AC unit, we have 2 little lift rings right there as well. Oh no, there's also 2 right there. Moving the locomotive forward here, you can see the phenomenal BNSF logo right there. Here is the large fuel tank right here, all in this lovely silver color with the yellow band and the red walkway and the more sill stripes right there as well. And there is the fuel level indicator, and which is very nice indeed. Moving along here, we can see our radiator section, and here is the brake wheel right here. As you can see, this is a real chain right here. This is the nice thing about Genesis 2.0 locomotives. They've done away with the plastic chain and gone with this actual chain, which is very nice indeed. Another jack pad right here. Now you see all the vents here. Now they are sort of see-through, only to about here, because I believe this is where the speaker is in this area. So there's a little gap where you can actually see through if I was to shine a light, and you can really see the you can see actually the radiators right up top here as well, and you can see the grab iron right there as well, and our rear steps to get onto the locomotive. All right, so now let's look at some roof detail. Looking at the roof of the locomotive, you can see that grab iron that I mentioned earlier, as well as a series of small antennas. We have a very large one right here, as well as 4 more right here, as well as, I believe this is also an antenna, but I'm not quite sure. If you could let me know in the comments, I would greatly appreciate that. We have some legible writing right here. Caution, the lift rings is for lifting cover only. And you can actually see all the little lift rings as well as I move the locomotive forward here. There's a lift ring right there, as well as a lift ring right here. Here is our horn. I'm not sure what kind of horn that is, but when we blow it in the sound demo, I'll probably figure out what it is. And there's our exhaust stack right here. And it's a nice all silver glory. And finally, we have the radiator section right here, as well as that yellow grab iron that I mentioned. And you can see the sand filler hatch as well. And unfortunately, it's see-through. I mean, sorry, it's not see-through, excuse me. But it still looks nice very well regardless. All right, so now let's get into the sound demo. Alrighty, so we have the locomotive now here up on the test track. So let's go ahead and put some power onto the rails here. A nice startup sequence there for the GE. So F0 is the main headlight. You can see it's on right there. F5 for Tsunami is the ditch lights. And there they are right there. F1 is the bell. Nice mechanical steel bell right there. F2 is a longhorn. And F3 is a short horn. Alrighty, now F7 is cab chatter, or it's also the dimmer, but let's see what happens here. Let's see if it'll do it again here. Maybe not. Hold on. So that is pretty cool indeed. Alright, so now we're going to throw the locomotive into reverse here, and we're going to track it as it goes down the little test track here. Alright, let's bring her back. And there you have it. We'll hear the horn one more time here. Alrighty, let's turn off the ditch lights, turn off the main headlight, turn off the power, and now let's get into my final thoughts. So overall, this is a really good looking locomotive. I'm very happy with it. I didn't find anything wrong with it, and it sounds great as well. And I highly recommend you pick one up. I picked mine up from yankeedabbler.com. I believe they still have 3 in stock of 788 here. I think they also have 702 in stock as well. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Also subscribe if you have not, and hit the notification bell to see what I have to upload next. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.